Hello, and welcome to the Chicago Housing Authority Housing Choice Voucher Program Participant Briefing. My name is Karen Humphrey, and I'm the Director of the Housing Choice Voucher Program.
Hello, everyone. My name is Sharif Taylor, CHA Outreach Coordinator. We know these are busy times and you're eager to begin your moving process, but we want to cover some very important topics before we get started.
It's extremely important that you are aware of your tenants' rights, particularly as a participant of the Housing Choice Voucher Program here in Chicago. The Fair Housing Act protects your right to live anywhere you want that is affordable. No one, I repeat, no one can deny you residency simply because you have a voucher. The voucher is a protected class under the Chicago Fair Housing Ordinance as a source of income.
We also want you to feel empowered during your housing search. Your relationship with CHA extends beyond this briefing. Every property you submit an RTA for will be inspected for compliance with housing quality standards prior to you moving in. We want you to communicate with your property owner early and often if conditions within your unit begin to fail, and the property owner isn't addressing the issues in a timely manner. We want you to notify the CHA and ask for a complaint inspection.
This course of action isn't meant to cause a rift between you and the property owner, but rather should be the last resort if the communication between you and them breaks down. And most important of all, please read your lease thoroughly. Never sign the lease prior to the initial inspection passing or before the landlord has accepted our rent determination offer. The Housing Choice Voucher Program provides you with the choice to live where you feel comfortable across the city of Chicago. Do not be misled by others who may give you incorrect information. Be it a tenant or an owner, everything you need to know is in this participant guidebook that you were provided with today. We ask that you please read it and refer back to it often.
Receiving your voucher is only the first step towards stability. We organize workshops across the city and partner with other organizations to aid you in a multitude of areas, including obtaining your degree and assisting you with finding a job. We have Park District vouchers for your children, and there's even programs to help you become a homeowner. CHA has so many resources available to you, and it would be a shame for you not to take advantage of them. A calendar of upcoming workshops was included in your packet that you received today. Take a look. We hold these events at various locations and times so that you have options. So please go to www.thecha.org and sign up for sessions that interest you. We hope to see you there.
And now, on with the briefing.
Chicago is home to over 2.7 million people, making it the third most populated city in the United States. The city is also home to one of the nation's largest public housing authorities, the Chicago Housing Authority, or CHA. In addition to offering public housing options, the CHA also operates the Housing Choice Voucher Program, or HCV. The HCV program grants subsidies to low-income residents so they can rent quality housing from private owners anywhere in the city of Chicago. CHA currently partners with nearly 14,700 property owners to house over 45,000 HCV program participants and their families. This is Sarah. Sarah is a Chicago resident and a participant in CHA's Housing Choice Voucher Program. Throughout this video, we are going to follow Sarah on her journey to find a new home. Along the way, we'll teach you more about the program and how to make your own moving process a success. Let's start with a quick overview of the Housing Choice Voucher Program. A common question about the HCV program is, where does CHA get the money to help participants pay their rent? Every year, the federal government gives a certain amount of money to the United States Department of Housing and Urban Development, or HUD, to distribute to all housing authorities across the United States. Some years, that federal amount is higher than others. HUD decides how much of that total amount will go to the Chicago Housing Authority. CHA takes those funds and uses them to operate programs like the Housing Choice Voucher Program. Now let's take a quick look at the HCV program process to help you understand how the system works and what you'll need to do. We'll go into details for each step later in the presentation. The process began when you were called from the waiting list and CHA approved you to participate in the HCV program. If you're a current participant in the program and requested a move, the process is the same for you moving forward. You were issued your voucher and the rest of the paperwork you need to find your next home at the beginning of this briefing. The voucher and other forms you received are often referred to as moving papers. You will take your moving papers with you after the briefing and search for a house or apartment that meets your needs, your voucher requirements, and HCV program regulations. After CHA inspects the unit for health and safety requirements and determines a rent amount with the owner, CHA and the property owner sign a contract where CHA agrees to pay a portion of your total rent, called a Housing Assistance Payment, or HAP. The contract with the owner is known as the HAP contract. You, the participant, will then sign a lease with the owner. You will be responsible for paying any remaining portion of the rent that is not paid by CHA. CHA does not get involved with the signing or enforcement of the lease agreement. That part of the process is directly between you and the property owner. Now let's take a look at the voucher. A sample voucher is available in the participant guidebook that you were given at the beginning of this session in the Forms and Documents section. It's very important that you understand your voucher and what specifications are included on it. This is what your voucher should look like. Your voucher is extremely valuable, so please keep it in a safe place. Your voucher proves to the property owner that you are authorized to receive a rent subsidy from CHA. It contains very valuable information, including your unique voucher number, the expiration date of the voucher, and the unit size for which you are eligible. Take a look at the unit size listed on your voucher. This number corresponds to the amount of subsidy that CHA will pay on your behalf. CHA uses the size of your family to determine your voucher size. For example, if I have a husband and 2 children, I will be given a voucher for 2 bedrooms. Additional bedrooms may be granted as a reasonable accommodation. For example, if a family member has a disability that requires a live-in aid, CHA subsidizes 1 additional bedroom, regardless of the number of family members, such as a spouse or children who live with that aid. If there are recent changes to your family situation that might affect your voucher, please let us know today. This includes an increase or decrease in your household income, a change in family composition like a marriage, divorce, or a new baby, or the need for a reasonable accommodation. An example of a reasonable accommodation would be if you or a member of your household now needs a live-in aid to help them with daily tasks. Any changes like these are what CHA calls interims. If you need to request an interim, please remember that a move and an interim cannot be done at the same time. You need to choose either the move or the interim. If you choose the interim, we can stop the move process right now, not issue the moving papers today, and complete the interim. We can then reinstate the move process once the interim is complete. If CHA is requiring that you move, We can work with you on an accommodation depending on the circumstances. Now let's talk about how much you can afford to spend on rent with your voucher. Obviously, it's extremely important to know how much money you can spend. While some of CHA's regulations regarding payments can be complicated, we'll do our best to explain the math involved. CHA subsidizes your rent based on pre-published amounts called payment standards. The payment standard is the maximum amount CHA will pay on your behalf for each unit size. A table showing the current payment standards for different size units can be found inside your participant guidebook. CHA expects you, the participant, to contribute between 30 and 40% of your household's monthly adjusted income toward your rent and utilities. If you find a unit with rent and utilities that add up to less than the payment standard listed on this table, you will only need to contribute 30% of your income. But if you choose a unit with rent and utilities that add up to more than the payment standard, you will be responsible for paying every dollar over that payment standard, all the way up to 40% of your income. Since the maximum you're allowed to pay is 40% of your income, if the unit you picked costs so much that the payment standard plus your monthly contribution still isn't enough to cover the rent and utilities, then you will not be able to rent that unit. This is why it is important to search for a unit with rent and utilities that add up to the payment standard or below. You can even consider units with more bedrooms than are printed on your voucher, as long as your total monthly payment is equal to or less than 40% of your monthly adjusted income. Another document you'll find in your moving papers is the Rent Burden Worksheet. This worksheet is a great tool to help you determine how much you can afford. CHA has completed this worksheet for you based on your individual income information, the current payment standard, and utility allowance numbers. Remember, you can find the payment standards, utility allowance tables, and much more information in your participant guidebook and on the participant portal. To help you understand the affordability calculations a bit better, let's look at a couple of examples. Let's say you have a 2-bedroom voucher, which has a payment standard of $1,253, and your monthly adjusted income is $1,000. The most you can pay towards rent and utilities is 40% of your monthly income, so your maximum tenant share would be $400. That's 40% of $1,000. The least you would pay is 30% of your monthly income, so your minimum tenant share would be 30% of $1,000 or $300. Using these numbers, let's look at 2 potential units. Unit 1 has rent and utilities that happen to add up to exactly $1,253. In this scenario, you would pay 30% of your income, or $300, towards rent and utilities, because the total amount does not go above the payment standard. Unit 2 has rent and utilities that add up to $1,296. In this unit, you would pay your minimum of $300 plus every dollar that the apartment exceeds the payment standard. $1,296 is $43 more than the payment standard of $1,253. So you would pay a total of $343. If you looked at other, more expensive units, the amount you would owe would continue to increase until you reach your maximum payment of 40% of your monthly income, or $400. If you looked at any units that would require you to pay more than $400, you would not be eligible to rent that unit. If you have no reportable income, CHA qualifies you as zero income participant. Under CHA policy, even a zero income participant is responsible for contributing a minimum payment of $75. As shown in the example on the screen, a zero-income family that qualifies for a two-bedroom voucher is responsible for only the $75 minimum rent on a two-bedroom unit with rent and utilities equaling $1,253. Remember, you have 120 days until your voucher expires. The exact expiration date is printed on your voucher. In this time frame, plus any tolling time, which we'll cover in a minute, you must find a suitable unit for you and your family. Submit the request for tenancy approval or RTA packet, which contains all of the paperwork necessary for CHA to process your request. Allow CHA to screen the property owner for program eligibility. Have the unit pass CHA's Housing Quality Standards or HQS inspection. Allow CHA to determine the contract rent amount and have it accepted by the property owner. Have the property owner sign the Housing Assisted Payment or HAP contract with CHA. Sign your lease with the property owner. And finally, move into your new unit. To give you an example of the time you should give yourself to get through the process, let's look at a best-case scenario. Let's say Sarah attends her voucher briefing on July 6th and picks up her moving papers. She immediately starts searching for a unit, and 5 days later, on July 11th, she finds a unit that has what she's looking for. She meets with the property owner, and together, the two of them complete the RTA packet and submit it to CHA on July 13th. CHA processes the RTA packet, screens the property owner for eligibility, and then schedules an inspection of the unit for July 26th. The unit passes inspection, and CHA starts working on determining the contract rent to offer the property owner. This process takes several days, and the rent is accepted by the property owner on August 2nd. The property owner then receives the HAP contract from CHA, reads it over, and signs it on August 5th. That same day, Sarah meets with the property owner to sign the lease. After taking a few days to prepare, Sarah moves into her new apartment on August 8th. In this best-case scenario, the entire process took 33 days. But remember, there are plenty of things that can happen to delay the process. You might have trouble finding a unit that's the size and type you need in your desired neighborhood. It might take a while for the property owner to complete their portion of the RTA packet. Some of these delays can push you past the 120-day period, and you could lose your voucher. CHA realizes that once you submit your RTA packet, you have no control over the time it takes for the forms to be processed. During this processing time, the time left on your voucher is temporarily frozen, and that time doesn't count against you. This is known as tolling time. If you submit a RTA packet that ends up being denied, the time on your voucher is frozen from the day the RTA was submitted until you are notified in writing that the RTA has been denied. Tolling time enables you to shop for a different unit without losing the days you spent waiting for RTA approval on the denied unit. Here's an example of how tolling time works. Let's say Sarah chooses a unit and submits the completed RTA packet on July 25th. Her tolling time starts immediately on the 25th. CHA processes the RTA and schedules an inspection for August 2nd, which is 9 days after the date she submitted the RTA. So far, Sarah has accrued 9 days of tolling time. The unit passes inspection, and CHA then performs a rent reasonableness study to determine a rent amount to offer the property owner. CHA submits the rent offer to the owner on August 5th, which is 12 days after Sarah submitted the RTA. Unfortunately, the owner decides to turn down CHA's rent offer immediately on the 5th. CHA then denies the RTA in writing to Sarah, also on the 5th. Sarah has accrued a total of 12 days of tolling time, which means her voucher will now expire 12 days later than the expiration date originally printed on the voucher. Aside from tolling time, there are certain situations where CHA will grant you an extension on your voucher. Reasons for granting an extension include if you need a reasonable accommodation due to a disability for you or a family member, if serious illness or death in the family has prevented you from searching for a unit, if you have difficulty searching for a unit due to your employment hours, or your family size or other special circumstances have made it difficult to locate an appropriate unit. Any request for an extension must be provided in writing prior to the expiration date on your voucher. You must include documentation to verify you meet the criteria for the extension. You can request a voucher extension up to 10 days before your voucher expires, and the maximum extension CHA will grant you is 60 days. Let's pick up the process with Chris. Chris also just attended his briefing and has his moving papers in hand. He knows that his voucher is only good for 120 days, so he's ready to get started looking for a new home. Let's follow Chris as he goes through the moving process. It's important for you to know whether or not CHA considers you a required move. A move is considered required for many different reasons. For example, if the unit no longer meets HCV program standards due to failed inspections, if the owner has failed to comply with requests by CHA, such as providing required documents, if the owner has issued you a 30-day notice to vacate, if you have already left your unit. If you are a required move, you must complete the moving process within the maximum allotted time frame or risk losing your voucher. There are 5 basic steps in the moving process. First, you need to find a suitable unit. Second, you must work with the property owner to complete your RTA packet and submit the completed paperwork to CHA. You should also notify your current landlord that you'll be moving out using the Notice to Vacate form in the RTA packet. Third, CHA will process the RTA, screen the property owner, and schedule an inspection of the new unit to make sure that the unit is a safe and comfortable place to live. If the unit passes inspection, CHA will make a rent offer to the owner. Once CHA and the owner agree on rent, you'll sign a lease with the new owner. Of course, then you'll move out of your current unit and into the new one. If everything goes well, the total moving process takes about 36 business days. Chris is excited about finding a new unit. He knows that the internet is the best place to start looking, but he doesn't have a computer at home. Fortunately, because Chris is a participant in the HCV program, he has free access to the internet in one of CHA's resource rooms. There are resource rooms for participants at both CHA's central office and at the South office. The best website to start your search is at CHA's preferred database of available units, powered by Go Section 8. You can access the site directly or through CHA's website under the Residents tab on the home page and then click on Find HCV Housing. You are also welcome to try other websites like Craigslist or Rent.com. There may be other websites you have heard of as well. You can also use local newspapers, look for vacancy or for rent signs in your preferred neighborhood, or ask for referrals from friends or family. You can even contact a previous landlord that you have a good relationship with to help you find a new place to live. Like you, Chris doesn't just want a great unit, but he also wants to live in a great neighborhood. There are websites that are dedicated to helping people like you and Chris do just that. ChicagoHealthAtlas.org allows you to type in an address and find nearby community resources like daycare centers and clinics, as well as shows you data on different neighborhoods such as crime rates, health statistics, and demographics. Everyblock.com is a popular community forum that gives statistics on areas and has message boards so you can talk to your potential neighbors. The Chicago Police Department maintains an online database of recent criminal activity, registered sex offenders, and other vital crime statistics that are searchable by street address. This site is called ClearMap, and you can find a link on CHA's website or through the Chicago Police Department's website. When you see a unit you like, you can check if the building has any recent code violations on the City of Chicago's website in the Department of Buildings section. Are you interested in living in a Chicago community area that offers a better quality of life, has less poverty, less reported violent crimes, and other desirable traits? Maybe somewhere you didn't think you can afford with your voucher? CHA's Mobility Counseling Program helps families find housing in these mobility areas and offers a one-time grant of up to $500 that can be used towards your security deposit or move-in fee. In addition to the one-time grant, CHA may also increase your payment standard by as much as 150%. In the mobility program, you will also receive unit search assistance and invitations to workshops on topics like home maintenance and financial management. If you are interested in the mobility program, visit the CHA website or call Housing Choice Partners for more information. When you're searching for a new home, remember that property owners need to follow fair housing laws. Under the fair housing laws, you have the right to live wherever you want as long as you can afford the unit. A property owner can never discriminate or deny you a unit based on color, race, religion, age, sexual orientation, or solely on the fact that you are a voucher holder. Your voucher must be considered income, just like any other source of income. Keep in mind that owners do have the right to reject your application based on credit history, references, rental history, or criminal background. There are more details about fair housing laws in your participant guidebook. When you're ready to start looking at potential units, keep in mind that CHA inspects every unit before it is approved for you to move in. To save yourself valuable time, you can look for some of the health and safety issues yourself while you're visiting the unit instead of waiting for CHA to inspect. HUD publishes a guidebook called A Good Place to Live that shows you what you should look for in a unit and what CHA is going to look at when we inspect your new unit. The book is available for download on their website, www.hud.gov. Do you want to move out of Chicago or move to another city or state? If you do, you can. Your voucher is mobile, meaning you can transfer your CHA voucher to another housing authority in another city or state. You can actually take your voucher anywhere in the United States of America, including Alaska, Hawaii, or even Puerto Rico. This option is called portability, or sometimes referred to as porting out. If you want to move outside the city of Chicago, you must let us know and complete a port out request form. However, just like any move, you must give your current landlord at least a 30-day notice before the move. In addition, you will need to have at least 60 days remaining on your voucher in order to port out. When you request to port out, you must tell CHA which housing authority you are moving to so we can send them your file. It's important to remember that the housing authority you move to may have rules, policies, and deadlines that are different from CHA. There may be changes regarding the size of your voucher, the payment standard, termination proceedings, screening processes, or other items. Your portion of the rent may also be different based on your subsidy for that housing authority, and you might have to attend another interview or briefing at their location. When porting out, like any other move, you should be mindful of the date that your new lease is effective. Remember, CHA will only pay the old unit's rent through the month before your new lease begins. For example, if your new lease goes into effect on April 26th, you need to be out of the old unit by April 30th, at the latest, assuming your old lease or landlord allows you to stay. In that case, since CHA has already paid April's rent, you can technically remain in that old unit through the end of the month. However, if your new lease effective date is May 1st, you must leave your old unit by April 30th. If you violate this rule and stay in your old unit past the deadline, you will be responsible for the full rent amount. You can find contact information for the most commonly requested port-out areas in the participant guidebook. After plenty of internet research, Chris found a unit that seems perfect for his needs. He scheduled a visit so he can see for himself if the unit is suitable for him to rent. The unit Chris looked at meets all of his criteria, and he's ready to move forward. His next step is to work with the property owner to complete the Request for Tenancy Approval, or RTA, packet. Your RTA is included in your moving papers, so let's take a few minutes to look over the paperwork. The first 2 pages of your RTA should look like this. This is the actual Request for Tenancy Approval form from HUD, which you will complete along with your landlord. In addition to the standard RTA form, the rest of your packet includes an authorization for the release of information. This form must be filled out by the new owner, giving CHA permission to screen the owner for HCV program eligibility. A disclosure of lead or disclosure of information for pre-1978 housing. This form is also filled out by the new owner and discloses any lead-based paint issues within the unit. A utility information request and consent form. This form is also filled out by the new owner, giving CHA permission to access owner-supplied utility account information from the service providers. A direct deposit authorization and IRS form W-9. These forms enable CHA to pay the new owner the HAP, CHA's portion of your rent, electronically. An affidavit of ownership. This form is for the new property owner to state that he or she is the legal owner of the property and that there are no overdue taxes or other financial issues that threaten that ownership. A property owner's certification form. This form is also filled out by the new owner, certifying that he or she has read, understands, and agrees to the terms of the participation in the HCV program. A management authorization form. This form will need to be completed if the new property owner is using a management company to manage their property. In addition, you will have a notice to vacate form included with your moving papers. Although it is not part of the RTA packet, it is a vital form in the moves process. The notice to vacate needs to be sent to your current landlord and must include your move-out date. Ideally, you will have your current landlord sign this document, but please note that even if you cannot get your current landlord to sign this notice, you must still provide them with a 30 days notice in writing. Let's flip back to that first page, the RTA form. On that first page, make sure that the address to the new unit is correct, along with the correct unit number. If this information is incorrect, your voucher cannot be used for the unit. Also on page 1, if utilities and appliances are included in your lease, make sure the property owner, manager has checked the correct boxes. Also, be sure the listings for heating, cooking, and water specify whether the unit uses natural gas or electric. On page 2, make sure the head of household, that's you, signs and dates all the necessary pages of the RTA as well as the property owner. Be sure to include a daytime phone number on the RTA in case we need to call you with questions. Now, let's move to the Disclosure of Information for Pre-1978 Housing Form, which is also called the Disclosure of Lead. The form states that you have received information regarding lead-based paint and the property manager has agreed to comply with lead-based paint regulations. The property owner should have provided you with a brochure on the dangers of lead-based paint. That brochure is also printed in the participant guidebook. Don't forget to sign this form and date it. This is what the notice to vacate looks like. It's very important to submit this form to your current landlord so he or she knows that you're moving out and when you're leaving. Ideally, the current landlord would sign this document to prove that he or she was notified. While CHA would prefer their signature, it is not required. Regardless of whether or not you get the landlord's signature, you need to submit the form to CHA with your RTA packet. You must submit 3 properly completed documents to CHA before we can go forward with the process for your move. They are the RTA form, proof of ownership from the property owner, and your notice to vacate. Remember, just like the eligibility process you went through before receiving your voucher, the owner must go through an eligibility process as well before they are allowed to be a part of the HCV program. After you submit the RTA, CHA will review the owner's information to ensure they are in good standing to receive funds from CHA and HUD. Here are some tips to help you make sure your RTA packet is complete and ready to submit. Meet with the property owner in person to review the entire RTA packet before you submit. Be sure that the property owner has read the entire packet, even the parts that pertain to you, the participant. Review each page of the RTA and make sure you and the property owner have signed and dated everywhere you need to. The property index number, or PIN, must be printed on the RTA. We'll talk about this in a moment. Please remember that you are only able to submit one RTA packet at a time. You must wait until the RTA is denied, for whatever reason, before submitting a new RTA for another unit. A quick note about the property index number, or PIN. This is a unique number that is assigned to every property in the country, kind of like a Social Security number for the property. CHA needs this number to process the RTA. If the owner does not know the property's PIN, you or the owner can look it up online. Simply go to www.cookcountypropertyinfo.com and click Search by Property Address. Enter the address and the site will show you the PIN. Once CHA receives the completed RTA packet and conducts a successful screening of the property owner, the unit you are looking to rent must be inspected. The inspection is scheduled after CHA successfully screens the property owner, a process that can take several days. Typically, the inspection is completed within 7 to 10 business days after the owner is deemed eligible. You, the participant, are not required to be involved in the inspection, but can attend if you wish and if the owner consents. Regardless of whether or not you attend the inspection, you should stay in contact with the owner throughout the inspection process. If the unit fails the inspection, the owner has 14 days to correct the items that caused the unit to fail. However, if the unit fails the second inspection, your moving papers will be canceled for this unit and CHA will issue you a new set. Remember, your tolling time started the day you submitted the RTA packet, so you will not be penalized for the days it takes to complete the inspection process. Because there are a lot of older buildings in Chicago, lead-based paint is a real concern. Newer paint does not contain lead, but buildings built before 1978 may still contain lead-based paint. Lead-based paint is hazardous to the brain and kidneys and can cause nerve damage and high blood pressure, among other issues. If the unit you are looking to rent was built before 1978 and has not had a full rehab since 1978, and if the unit will have a child under 6 years old living in the unit, CHA may require the owner to have a third party perform a lead-based paint inspection at the owner's expense. Even minor paint cracking, chipping, chalking, or peeling requires repair, and larger issues may require this special lead clearance exam performed by a certified laboratory. For more information about lead-based paint, see your participant guidebook. We discussed some of the housing quality standards requirements when Chris did his walkthrough. Here is a diagram of some of the areas in and around a unit that an inspector will look at. More specifically, some of the areas covered by an HQS inspection include areas for food preparation and storage, adequate space and security, heat, lighting and electricity, quality structure and materials, acceptable interior air quality, acceptable water supply, absence of lead-based paint hazards, acceptable means of access to the unit, acceptable site and neighborhood, smoke and carbon monoxide detectors. Once the unit passes inspection, CHA will determine what to offer the owner for monthly rent. There are 3 factors CHA uses to determine the rent amount of your chosen new unit. First is what the owner would like to charge for the unit. This is called asking rent. Second is the market rent, which is the average amount of rent being charged for similar units within a 1-mile radius of the one you're looking to rent. The third factor is how much you, the participant, can afford for rent, taking into account your voucher size, the utilities you will be responsible for, and your income. This is known as affordability. CHA will contact the owner with an offer for rent. If the owner does not accept CHA's offer, CHA will issue you a new set of moving papers and you will have to find another unit. You are advised not to move into the unit until after the rent determination is completed and CHA and the property owner have come to an agreement on your move-in date and the full contract rent offer. After the unit has passed inspection and the rent has been determined and approved, you can sign the lease with the property owner. The lease is strictly between you and the property owner. CHA does not get involved with the signing of the lease, and we do not enforce the lease on behalf of either you or the property owner. So it's extremely important that you read and understand the lease before you sign. All of the costs involved with you living in the unit must be written into the lease. There cannot be any side agreements or payments between you and the owner that are not stated in the lease. CHA needs to be aware of any additional fees for pets, parking, or anything else when you submit the RTA. Certain terms of your lease must match what is on the HAP contract, which is the contract between CHA and the property owner. The items that must match include term dates, address, full contract rent amount, which includes both CHA's portion and your portion, occupants of the unit, if that is specified in your lease, utility responsibility requirements. Any changes to the lease must be made in writing. Your initial lease with the owner must be for a minimum of 1 year, but cannot be more than 2 years, and no changes can be made to the lease during that initial lease term. After the lease term expires, CHA does not require you to sign a new lease, but you can if you and the property owner agree to do so. If not, by law, your lease becomes a month-to-month agreement. If the property owner requires a security deposit or move-in fee for the new unit, that amount is not CHA's responsibility. It is yours as the tenant. Chris's moving process has gone very well. His unit passed inspection on the first try, the property owner accepted CHA's rent offer, and he signed the lease yesterday. He's almost ready to move into his new home, but not quite. First, he has to wrap things up with his old unit. Chris submitted his notice to vacate to his old property owner 30 days before he planned to move out. 30 days is the standard notice that needs to be given under CHA guidelines, but some leases may require a 60-day advance notice. Be sure to check with your lease and see what it requires. CHA will send your current property owner an acknowledgement to vacate notice as well. That verifies your move-out date and notifies the owner of the termination of CHA's portion of your rent. You must also remove all of your personal belongings before the end of the lease and leave the unit in good condition. In addition, it is vital that you remember to return your keys to the property owner or manager as soon as you move out. Legally, you are still considered to be occupying the unit as long as you have possession of the keys. Congratulations, you are now ready to move into your new unit. The final step is to certify with CHA that you are completely moved out of your old unit and have returned the keys to the property owner or manager. This can be done by filling out a move-out notice, signing it, and submitting it to CHA. Note, this is not the same as the notice to vacate that you provided the property owner earlier. Pay close attention to the dates on your new lease. CHA will only pay the old unit's rent through the month before your new lease begins. For example, if your new lease goes into effect on April 26th, you need to be out of the old unit by April 30th, at the latest, assuming your old lease or landlord allows you to stay. In that case, since CHA has already paid April's rent, you can technically remain in the old unit through the end of the month. However, if your new lease effective date is May 1st, you must leave your old unit by April 30th. CHA will not pay May's rent to the old owner because they will be paying rent to the new owner instead. If you violate this rule and stay in your old unit past the deadline, you will be responsible for the full rent on that old unit. Chris did it. He moved into his new unit. Like all of our HCV program participants, Chris is free to enjoy his new home, but he's also expected to follow the CHA family obligations. You and all of the family members on the voucher need to follow these obligations or risk losing your voucher. If you lose your voucher by violating the family obligations, you will not be able to join the wait list until the next time it opens. The full list of family obligations is printed in your participant guidebook. Before you begin your housing search, make sure you and your family understand every rule. Here are portions of some of the key items listed in the family obligations. The family must promptly notify the CHA in writing if any family member no longer lives in the unit or when the family is away from the unit for an extended period of time. Promptly notify the CHA in writing of the birth, adoption, foster, or court-awarded custody of a child. Supply any information that CHA or HUD determines to be necessary, including information for use in a regularly scheduled reexamination or interim reexamination of family income and composition. Notify the CHA and owner in writing before moving out of the unit or terminating the lease. Pay utility bills and provide and maintain any appliances that the owner is not required to provide under the lease. Not commit serious or repeated violations of your lease. While you have certain obligations as a HCV program participant, you are also entitled to the exact same rights as any other tenant in Chicago. If at any point during your stay in your unit, you learn that your building is in foreclosure, or if you have issues with the heat or hot or cold running water, please contact our office immediately so we can help you with the situation. If you want details about your rights as a tenant and what your landlord's responsibilities are, please call the Metropolitan Tenant Organization hotline at the number listed above, Monday through Friday, 1 p.m. to 5 p.m., to speak with a specialist. HCV program participants, as well as residents of public housing and those with project-based vouchers, are eligible to enroll in a savings and financial education program called the Family Self-Sufficiency, or FSS program. The program can help you save thousands of dollars to use for any purpose. The FSS program is a voluntary program administered by Heartland Alliance Human Care Services in partnership with CHA. To enroll, you must be the head of household, able to work, and willing to identify and set specific financial goals. The program generally lasts 5 years, during which you will meet quarterly with an FSS program coordinator and attend annual financial education sessions. Once you are enrolled, any rent increases you are subject to due to changes in your employment are turned into savings that you can use at the completion of the program. You can use the savings payout for any purpose, tax-free. In 2017 alone, CHA had over 950 people enrolled in the Family Self-Sufficiency Program and 49 graduates with an average savings payout of $5,000. FSS program graduates have used the funds for everything from a down payment on a house, to school tuition, to payment of past debt. To learn more about the FSS program, please contact Heartland Alliance Human Services using the contact information on your screen. You can also attend one of Heartland's free informational sessions. A calendar of upcoming sessions is available on their website using the link listed here. Your participant guidebook details everything we've talked about in today's briefing and more. It has information on many other CHA policies, as well as resources available through CHA community partners. Some key items to look for include fraud and ethics responsibilities of both the tenant and property owner. For example, you'll learn that you can lose your voucher if you make any side payments to an owner. How to apply for a hardship exemption if you cannot afford the minimum rent due to situations such as loss of federal, state, or local assistance, a death in the family, or the loss of a job. CHA's informal hearing process, advice on foreclosures. There are laws to protect you from sudden eviction if your building goes into foreclosure. Information about tenants' rights and landlord responsibilities. The rules surrounding reasonable accommodation requests, which are requests for exemptions to CHA's policies specific to people with disabilities. Information regarding your rights under the Violence Against Women Act, or VAWA. This law protects victims of domestic violence, dating violence, stalking, or sexual violence. You may want to review this if you or a family member is a victim of or feels threatened by domestic violence. Now that Chris is settled into his new home, he can finally relax and focus on what's most important to him. CHA is committed to helping people like you and Chris find safe, quality, affordable housing. If you have any questions, please see a CHA representative or call 312-935-2600. Thank you for attending the participant briefing, and best of luck to you in your search for the perfect home.